Welcome to a deep dive by the Quiet Footnote. Today, we're not just opening a book, we're plunging into a really profound conversation with a thinker whose ideas, written over 70 years ago, speak directly to you right now in 2025. We're talking about Alan Watts and his timeless work, The Wisdom of Insecurity. Our mission for this deep dive, well, it's to explore the underlying message of this powerful book, kind of dissect some common myths Watts expertly debunks, and really understand its urgent relevance for your life today. Especially as we navigate this increasingly hyper-connected, AI-driven world. We want to offer our perspective on why Watts' insights aren't just, thought-provoking, but actually a crucial roadmap for finding some peace in an uncertain future. So get ready to discover why letting go might actually be the most profound form of security you can cultivate. Watts doesn't waste a moment, does he? He plunges straight into what he sees as the core tension of modern life, our chronic anxiety. From our perspective, it really feels like the harder we grasp at this idea of being secure, the more elusive it becomes. What is Watts truly poking at here when he talks about this relentless human search for security?
It's fascinating, isn't it? Watt's diagnosis is incredibly radical for its time and, well, still so potent today. He argues that our chronic anxiety isn't some random thing. It's a direct result of chasing psychological security in a world that is fundamentally, inherently fluid. Think about it. The more we try to grasp to pin down life, the more slippery and unmanageable it feels. His core idea is this profound paradox. The desire for security and the feeling of insecurity are the same loop.
The same loop, wow.
Yeah. He's suggesting that life isn't a problem to be solved or conquered, but more like a dynamic dance to join. And crucially, it's a dance to join now, in this moment, not somewhere off in an imagined future.
That's the real kicker, isn't it? We act as if life owes us some kind of warranty, constantly trying to outsmart impermanence. We hoard plans, cling to beliefs, sculpt these rigid identities, and even track spiritual progress like it's a checklist. It's what Watts subtly calls time trap living, right? Where we're perpetually mortgaging the present for some imagined perfect future. We're always thinking, I'll finally be okay when I get the promotion, when I save enough, when I finally figure it all out.
Exactly. It's like we're running frantically on an escalator that's always going down, convinced we can outrun the flow.
Yeah.
And this raises an incredibly important question for you today. How can we genuinely live now when our attention, our energy, our very presence is constantly collateralized by this elusive later? Watts insists on a foundational truth. The future is just a concept, a mental projection. The past, that's just memory, a story we tell ourselves. And the ego, well, that's another story we keep reinforcing.
So we feel insecure because we're literally trying to grip water.
Precisely. He encourages us to see the I not as this solid, fixed unit like a statue you have to defend. Instead, he sees it as a dynamic, ongoing process, an eyeing happening inside a larger, flowing field. It's more like a verb than a noun, really.
An eyeing, I like that.
His message is remarkably simple but profound. A softer grip leads to a softer mind. It frees us from that exhausting job of constantly defending something that was never really fixed to begin with.
Okay, so Watts doesn't just diagnose the problem, which is powerful enough on its own. He then turns his keen eye to the subtle, almost comfy lies we tell ourselves, those deeply ingrained beliefs keeping us stuck. It's these myths, often unspoken, that shape so much of our daily lives. What are some of those common misconceptions he just takes apart for us?
Well, Watts does so brilliantly, and what we find incredibly relevant is he systematically dismantles several beliefs that just permeate modern society. He shows us how these ideas that seem like common sense actually, feed our anxiety. Let's start with the big one. I'll feel safe once I control enough variables. Think about how much energy we put into this. Meticulous planning, endless lists, trying to manage every outcome.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Watts' correction is radical. Chasing certainty doesn't reduce anxiety, it actually manufactures it. True ease, he argues, comes from participating in the natural flux of life, not constantly wrestling against it, like trying to build dams everywhere in a wild river. You just exhaust yourself.
Instead of learning to navigate the current.
Exactly. Then there's another deeply ingrained belief. Happiness equals stacking pleasures. We're always chasing the next high, the next buy, the next achievement, the next dopamine hit online. Watts teaches that this peak chasing, this relentless pursuit, only amplifies our underlying sense of lack. Instead, he suggests that quiet contact with ordinary moments is what truly saturates them with enough.
Presence is income.
Right. That line really sticks with me. Pleasure peaks are loans, presence is income. You pay for the peaks with the dips later, but presence offers a steady, sustainable return. It's profound. Then there's the powerful idea that Thinking about life is the same as living it. In our info-heavy world, we often get caught in endless analysis, right? Intellectualizing everything.
Guilty as charged.
Watts reminds us that words, theories, models, they're just maps. They point to reality, but they aren't reality itself. Reality, he says, is tasted directly through experience, not just tabulated in our heads. That's his contact before concept principle.
Experience first, label later.
Precisely. See the tree, feel the bark before you classify it. Many of us also hold this belief that faith means clinging to beliefs. We often think of faith as rigid doctrines, a list of things you must accept. Watts radically redefines faith, not as intellectual agreement, but as buoyancy like trust in water to hold you when you float. It's an embodied relaxation, a release into the flow, not some argument you have to win.
To have faith is to trust yourself to the water. That image is so powerful.
Isn't it? It's about letting go and seeing what actually supports you. And finally, the pervasive myth that salvation or enlightenment is somewhere later. This ties right back into that time trap living.
Always chasing the destination.
Exactly. Watts insists any path that constantly mortgages the present just empties it. Sacredness, he proclaims, is a present tense phenomenon. It's right here, right now, in the ordinary unfolding. You don't arrive at it. You realize it was always here.
These aren't just abstract ideas, are they? I mean, you can probably feel the pull of these myths in your daily life, whether it's endlessly planning for a future that never quite arrives or, chasing the next like online for that quick hit. Watts is really challenging the very foundations of how we think about well-being, suggesting our intuitive search for security might actually be leading us astray. It's quite something. It's genuinely mind-boggling, isn't it, how a book from 1951 can feel like it was written, well, yesterday. Let's dig into why Watts' insights feel not just relevant, but critically urgent for you in 2025, especially with AI becoming such a big part of our world. It's like he saw our hyper-modern anxieties coming decades away.
What's truly fascinating here, and this is our perspective, is how Watts' 1951 signal just cuts clean through all the noise of 2025. We haven't just ignored his warning. In many ways, we've actually industrialized insecurity. Think about it. Take the attention economy. Our feeds, our algorithms. They aren't designed for peace, are they? They monetize your unease by constantly dangling something later, the next notification, the next must-see content, the next thing that promises fulfillment.
Keeping you hooked, keeping you scrolling.
Exactly. And Watts' remedy live now, not after, is a direct, potent antidote to that infinite scroll and the engineered FOMO. Then there's the optimization religion. We're surrounded by trackers, KPIs, life dashboards, all pushing us to quantify and control everything. Sleep, productivity, happiness.
Yeah, the quantified self.
Right. And he warned against mistaking these maps for the territory. Metrics can be useful, sure, but contact with the raw experience of life is what truly grounds us. Trying to optimize every second often just pulls us out of actually living it. Our ongoing anxiety epidemic is another clear sign. Our default response. Plan harder, grasp tighter, build more mental walls. But Watts spots the loop. Seeking security creates more insecurity.
So gripping tighter actually makes it worse.
Precisely. He suggests gripping softer is the way to suffer less. Surrender a bit to the flow, and look at economic and career volatility, the gig economy, sudden layoffs, tech shifts. Watts' approach isn't passivity. It's about participation over rigid control. Learn to surf the wave. Don't try to cement it in place.
Adaptability over rigidity.
Exactly. It's about being responsive, not just resistant, and critically, its relevance in the age of AI. This is where Watts feels almost prophetic. When our online personas are so easily edited, filtered, performed, and AI can generate convincing fakes, his ego as process idea is incredibly liberating.
Because trying to defend a fixed brand becomes impossible.
Almost, yeah. The pressure is immense when AI can mimic or create identities. Watts frees you from defending a static self that might be indistinguishable from an AI construct. He invites you to simply be played, to flow with the eyeing, instead of solidifying a potentially fakeable identity. Collaborate with the process. Don't be enslaved by the illusion of fixed, editable self.
That's a really powerful point for right now.
Isn't it? And finally, our relentless pleasure chasing versus true peace. Those dopamine loops from likes, buys, achievements amplified by tech. They keep a sense of lack alive, always pointing to the next thing. Watts points instead to saturation in the ordinary, the quiet fullness of this sip of coffee, this note of music, the feeling of air on your skin. That's where genuine, sustainable peace lies.
So what does this all really mean for you, listening right now? Watts' core message cuts through all that noise like a sharp, clear bell. Reality is fundamentally flux, change, not control. And accepting that, really integrating that understanding, That's where genuine freedom begins. It's a huge paradigm shift. Okay, let's try and distill all this powerful wisdom. Let's boil it down into maybe 5 actionable, memorable sparks for you to carry forward. From our perspective, what are the top 5 key insights Watts really hopes you will internalize from this book?
Right. Let's connect the threads. These are like the living bones of the book, the core principles that really resonate and offer immediate application in your life. First, security is a mirage. We're constantly trying to build this fortress against change, against a world that's inherently fluid. Think about how we plan careers, hoard things, curate identities. Believing more control brings peace.
But the clutching creates the ache.
Exactly, as Watts put it so perfectly. The desire for security and the feeling of insecurity are the same thing. It's like trying to grab a cloud. The tighter you squeeze, the less you actually have. Second, now is the only usable life. You just cannot make sane plans for the future if you lack the capacity to genuinely inhabit the present moment. Life, he reminds us, is like music, experienced in its unfolding, note by note, not a staircase to climb to get to the end faster.
No valid plans for the future can be made by those who have no capacity for living now. That hits hard.
It really does.
Yeah.
Third, ego is a verb, not a thing. Most of us think of I as this fixed noun, our solid identity, our brand to defend. But Watts says it's more like a verb, an ongoing process, an eyeing, unfolding within a larger field, like breathing or thinking.
Choreography, not a statue.
Exactly, a dynamic dance, not some static thing you must protect. Fourth, faith equals buoyancy, not belief. This is revolutionary for many. It's not clinging to doctrines. It's trusting yourself to the water, allowing life's current to support you. Action then arises from relaxed participation, from flow, not rigid certainty.
Again, to have faith is to trust yourself to the water. It's embodied release.
Precisely, not just intellectual assent. And fifth, contact before concept. Symbols, metrics, labels, doctrines, even our inner stories, they're just maps. Reality, in its raw form, is tasted, felt, experienced directly. Start there, with the felt sense, and only then use ideas and concepts.
So look with reality, not just at it. Merge, don't just monitor.
You got it. Experience life's fullness directly.
And if we had to summarize the whole book in one sharp sentence for you, it might be this. A clear, unsentimental manual for trading the chase for certainty for full contact with reality now by loosening the ego's grip, trusting the flow, and letting awareness lead action. That feels spot on. And from our perspective, exactly what our current moment really needs. Now, Watts isn't just about theories, is he? He's incredibly practical. He teaches us how to actually join this dance, how to live this wisdom, not just, think about it. So what's next for you? How can you start applying these ideas to truly inhabit the present instead of just observing it from the sidelines?
He offers these simple yet really profound mini practices. They're designed to train your nervous system to genuinely pace enough and to just soften that grip. First, you could try the 1-minute unplan. Set a 60-second timer. For just that minute, choose one simple thing to do slowly. Maybe sip some water, touch a surface nearby, or just sit with absolutely no target, no, after this all, thought creeping in.
Just be in that minute.
Exactly. You're training your nervous system to taste the sufficiency of just this. I actually tried this with my coffee last week, and yeah, it was surprisingly tough how quickly my mind wanted to jump ahead. It really shows how conditioned we are to look later.
Yeah, it reveals the habit.
Definitely. Next, there's label lived. Pick any moment, a sunset, deadline pressure, a cup of coffee. Consciously try to strip away the labels, the stories, the judgments. Instead, just notice the raw color, the weight, the texture, your breath in that moment. What does it actually feel like?
Before the mind jumps in with commentary.
Right? Words come after, never before the direct experience. Then you might consider the held note or held breath. If you play an instrument, try just sustaining a single note, letting it fill the space. If not, simply sustain a comfortable, easy breath. Notice the gentle expansion, contraction. Listen or feel until your mind inevitably gets bored, because it will, and then keep listening or feeling past that boredom.
Yeah.
You'll start to sense the life inside the stillness, the richness hidden by the chatter.
Finding the depth and simplicity.
Exactly. And finally, there's creative morality. Before a tricky choice, instead of just asking, what do I want, or what's the rule, try asking, what response harmonizes this entire situation? Consider not just your impulse, but what serves the whole context, the people, the timing. Then choose the overlap, the action that brings the most harmony, allowing you to participate gracefully.
Rather than forcing an outcome.
Precisely.
These practices aren't about adding more to your list, are they? They seem to be about inviting full contact with what is, minus the white-knuckle grip, allowing you to respond authentically, flexibly, instead of rigidly controlling. It's a huge shift from struggling against reality to dancing with it.
It really is.
The wisdom of insecurity. It truly feels like a gift to our hyper-optimized, anxiety-ridden world. Watts offers you this invitation not to solve life, not to wrestle it down, but to fully participate in its unfolding, to dance with its uncertainties.
Yeah, and from our perspective, the unheard message beneath Watt's words, it's just quietly insistent. Stop bargaining with life. Peace isn't something that arrives after you secure the future. It shows up the very moment you stop demanding those guarantees and just enter the scene as it is, fully present.
Mhm.
For you, maybe a little mantra to carry forward, something to remember in those anxious moments. No arrivals, only phrasing. Or, when you feel that urge to control everything, this is the wave. I am the board. Balance, don't bargain.
I like that. Balance, don't bargain. We really hope this deep dive into Alan Watts' The Wisdom of Insecurity has given you some profound insights and maybe some practical tools to navigate your own fluctuating world with a bit more ease and presence. Thank you so much for joining us.